Hey guys, welcome back to our E2 Visa question and answer series. This is going to be episode number 4. My name is Marcus Wabshall. I am an immigration attorney located in Southern Florida. I'm the founding attorney of Veritas Immigration Law, which is an immigration-only law firm located in Florida. We have offices in Naples, Orlando, and Miami and Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach area. And we primarily handle E2 treaty investor visas for people coming from treaty countries. We help you move your business, your life, and your family here to the United States. I think today's episode will be a little bit shorter. I don't have quite as many questions on this one, I think. And but I just want to get another episode out to you guys to help you get your questions answered. Please remember, if you're watching this, to send in any questions you have, whether it's for yourself or for somebody else. If you're currently on an E2 or you're just thinking about getting an E2, either way, we'd like to hear from you. We'd like to know what issues are on your mind and what kind of situations you guys are facing, so that we can help get the best information out to you and help you succeed with your business and with your life here in the United States. All right, let me move this over here and let's go. Okay, first question says, hello, I'm planning to purchase an existing business with 51% ownership with existing business partner. Do I have to change the LLC name, or just adding my name in existing LLC would work? Okay, let's see. Do I have to change the LLC name or just add my name in the existing LLC? So, okay. Um, I think I understand. I I don't think you have to change the name of the LLC. You can, obviously, if you're going to be the majority owner, that would be something you can do. I don't think you need to for E2 visa purposes. I think the most important thing here is to be able to present information to the embassy that you are the majority owner, right? So you'll probably have to amend the partnership agreement, add your name to the operating agreement, the LLC paperwork, just so it's clear that you have your certificates of ownership in the business, and that it's clear that you own the 51% of the business. I don't think you need to change the name of the LLC to do that. Um, I'd be kind of curious to know what the name is. Just maybe that would make a difference. Just for you know, uh, for the optics of it. I don't know what the name of the business is, but I don't think that that's a requirement. It's not something you have to do, but you do need to put your name in the underlying business paperwork, so it's clear that you are the owner. Okay, let's go to the next one. Um, Hi, I need some information about changing the state during E2 visa. I'm planning to sell my business and buy another one in a different state. I'm keeping my Florida LLC. Thanks. Okay. Couple things here to talk about. The first thing is okay. Okay. There's a lot of stuff that I kind of don't know here, but let me just kind of say a couple of general things. So the first thing is, if you're here on an E2 visa and you're going to sell your business, then that's going to put your E2 status in jeopardy. Keep in mind that your E2 status is tied to your business. And so if you sell your business, your visa and your status is also going to get automatically terminated, probably, or it's going to be in jeopardy, kind of depending on what's going on. Um, Especially, I mean, and if you buy another business, I'm kind of thinking are you going to be, is that business going to be the same, or is it different? Is it something completely different than your original E2? Um, if it's the same, let's say it's a coffee shop or something, um, this this isn't actually super uncommon. So sometimes people will just they want to move and they are selling like the assets of the business, but they keep the LLC or they keep the corporation, and then they just like move states and buy the same kind of business in another state, like another coffee shop. Um, so you want to have this. I hope that you. Um, this isn't a client of ours, so I hope that you do have an immigration attorney helping you on this because this is something that you want to be really careful about. Because, like I said, if your E2 is going to be in jeopardy if you sell your business, and or if the business doesn't um, have any resemblance to what your initial E2 approval was conditioned on. So, one thing if it's the same business and you are like just purchasing a new one in a different state, you're going to have to re-register that in the new state, most likely, especially if you need a license to operate that kind of business. Um, and you may need to like purchase the new business before you sell your E2 business to prevent your status from like automatically terminating, for example. Um, but but I would say that this is something that you need to consult with a lawyer about because we don't want your status to terminate, and you have to stay in compliance. You have to be updating the consulate if you're making significant changes to your business. And this is definitely a significant change. Okay. If you're if you're moving states, that's a big change. So that's a big enough change where you gotta either update, get a new E2 visa, or you may just, have to advise the consulate what's going on. So like I said, there's a lot that I don't know here. That's just kind of my general advice. But yeah, you definitely want to call up an immigration lawyer who does E2 visas and talk about this. I think that's all I want to say. Okay. Next question. I currently I own 50% ownership in LLC of business on E2 visa. Just wanted to know if I buy any other new business, what's the procedure? Should I buy and need to update the consulate? This is kind of like the last question. I guess I don't know what you mean. I'm not exactly sure what this person is up to. Just wanted to know if I buy any other new business. So, um, I guess what I'm not clear about is, are you buying like a separate like new business and you're gonna uh, like separate and apart from your E2 business, or is this just like a subsidiary of your E2 business? If Because keep in mind, as you probably or hopefully know, you can't work apart from your E2 business. So if you're going to be employed by some other business, that's not permitted on your E2 visa. But if you're like expanding or you're like adding another office maybe or some kind of like subsidiary company of and like the E2 business is like the parent company and you're adding, subsidiary companies, that's okay. You can do that. You can expand and grow your business. Um, but I'm just not clear exactly what's going on here. But you can't perform other work. That's kind of the main thing. Um, I'm just not clear on the question and exactly what this person is doing. So um, I would ask you to call us or call up an immigration attorney and explain in more detail. But it might be okay and it might not be okay. So we just got to get a little more information on that question. Okay. Okay, next one. Hi, I am about to apply for my change of status from B2 to E2. As I am thinking to apply for premium processing, can I apply for change of status for my family at the same time? So the answer is yes, you can. You can apply for a change of status for you and your family at the same time. They get done on different applications, but you can absolutely do them at the same time. Another thing that I maybe should mention, be careful about, this isn't like a hard and fast rule, really, but it's a rule that a lot of attorneys follow. It's called a 90-day rule, and it's not something that's, not every attorney follows this rule, but a lot of them do, because um, it used to be a more formalized rule in the regulations. It's called the 90-day rule, and the rule is that you don't want to apply for a change of status or an adjustment of status within the first 90 days of your arrival under that status. So if you're coming in here to the United States on a B2 visitor visa, you would want to wait at least like 90 days before you apply to change your status. And the reason for that is because the presumption used to be that if you applied for a change of status within those first like 90 days of your arrival, there would be a presumption of misrepresentation of your intentions. So, for example, if you came in on a B2 visa and within the first like 7 days you applied for a marriage-based green card, then there would be a presumption of fraud, right? That you entered into the United States pretending to be a visitor when your real intention was to, stay forever and get your residence. It's kind of the same thing if you're applying from a B2 to an E2. Um, some attorneys will tell you to wait 90 days, at least 90 days before you apply for a change of status. I think that's good advice generally, and it's not a bad idea to do that anyways, because it takes time to prepare your E2 application. So it's like if you just arrive here on a visitor visa, and within a week you're submitting a change of status, that's can raise some red flags because it's hard to prepare something sophisticated like an E2 in that short amount of time. So, anyways, that's just I think even though some immigration attorneys will say that that's not a hard and fast rule, I do think it's a generally good advice. So um, I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, so you can all apply together for the change of status. My recommendation is to wait, 60, 90 days before you file that paperwork. Okay, I filed an E2 extension of status through USCIS, mostly wanting to get an approval before applying again through the consulate, but then left the country so the extension was denied. I'm now filing at the consulate, but my family is still in the US. Their I-94 from the previous E2 approval are still valid until September 2024. Is there any risk of unlawful presence for the family because of the denied extension? Thanks in advance. That is a good question. Um, so this person is in the US on their E2. They applied to extend their status, and but while that was pending, they left the country. But the family is still here in the US. So this person's wondering if the family, I don't think there's a risk of unlawful presence because their I-94s are still valid. So I'm recording this video in December of 2023, and your family's I-94s are still valid until September of 2024. So I don't think there's any risk of unlawful presence because their I-94s are still valid. Um, so I would say definitely not. I would say there's definitely no risk of unlawful presence for them. Um, unless like your denial letter made that clear. Like if you got a denial letter from USCIS that said that, you know, their status is terminated or something, like it was clear in the denial letter that they're at risk of unlawful presence. Unless that happened, which I think is unlikely, I don't think there's any risk of them accumulating unlawful presence. Okay, so that's what ULP means right here. ULP means unlawful presence. So I think they're fine. We got our social security numbers, but our kids are not allowed to have one. That's normal. The health insurance we currently have is from my wife's work, and they are asking for our child's social security number. I called them to let them know that she doesn't have one, but they didn't know what to do about it. They said they'll need our baby's social security number in order to cover her. I do know about the ITIN for when we file our taxes, but I'm wondering if there's an in-between solution. Uh, I'm not an expert with this kind of stuff. Um, Health insurance in the US is kind of a hot mess. And the social security number, like, I don't know, people are just like obsessed with social security numbers for some reason. But as far as I know, I don't think you have to have a social security number to have health insurance. I mean, and if you're talking to some like representative at a health insurance company, um, they probably do not understand E2 status. So they probably don't understand E2s, and they don't understand that children on E2s don't get social security numbers. And I don't know, you probably just have some like low level health insurance representative who's doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. That's just my instinct. Just tell them that just tell them that your child can't get a social security number. She doesn't have immigration status that allows for a social security number. Um, and they should be able to give you health insurance anyways. I don't think you need a social security number to get that. So they probably just have like a checklist or something in front of them that, and social security number is one of them. But I don't think that's necessary to have health insurance. So, but again, I don't know. I'm not an expert with this stuff. Um, that's just my instinct. I don't think you need it. Maybe just call them back and explain to them that your family's here on an E2 visa and your children don't aren't permitted to have social security numbers, and just to process it anyways. Okay. Need help. If I'm Canadian citizen and move in USA on E2 visa, but wife is Indian passport holder and live in India, can she get E2 spouse visa if she is not Canadian citizen? Please help me for this question. Really appreciate it. So the answer is yes. If you are Canadian and you move into the US on an E2 visa, your spouse can also get an E2 visa. So the concern here is that I believe the concern here is that India is not a treaty country. And so Indian citizens cannot apply for an E2 visa as the principal applicant. However, the Foreign Affairs Manual and the regulations are clear that if a treaty country, if the spouse of an E2 holder is not a national or a citizen of a treaty country, they can get a dependent E2 visa on the main holder. And your visa will be valid, your E2 visa will be valid in your Indian passport for this. It should be valid for the same amount of time as your spouse's, as the principal E2 visa holder. So if you got an E2 visa as a Canadian citizen, that should be valid for 5 years. So your spouse should be able to get an E2 visa that's also valid for 5 years in her Indian passport. So some people get this screwed up and confused. They think that she can't get it because she's Indian and India is not a treaty country. But that's not correct. She can get an E2 as a spouse. Okay, so that should be no problem. Okay, next question. Hi, how early should I file E2 extension of status if it will be expired on June 15th, 2024? I don't want to pay for premium processing service at this time. Any feedback is appreciated. These take a long time. So if you expire in June, right now it's December. I don't think it's too early to do it right now because it can take 6 months. I've seen it take 10 months for people. So I think doing it now would be fine. And then your extension will be valid from the time that your visa expires. Your status, your current status expires. Okay? So I don't think it's too early to do it right now. Okay, next question. Okay, well, I guess that's the last one. Okay, all right, I know that was a little bit shorter. That's all the questions we have for this week. And when we have another set of questions, we will jump on another video and answer them for you guys. Please send your questions and let us know what's going on and how we can help you. We really appreciate all the questions that you guys send us, and try to find out what's going on for people and what issues you're facing. So please keep sending your questions and we'll do our best to respond.